Hello. In this tutorial we're gonna build a multi-tap feature which will recognize how many times we press the button inside of a certain time frame, like a double jump or whatever you hook your logic up to. What is special about this approach is that it uses the unreleased event to start the time frame. So if you want another way to do this, or you don't want to work with unreleased event, then you need to find another tutorial. Okay, so here is a screenshot of the final logic. So if you're an advanced developer and already understand the engine, you're probably gonna understand this and can just take this code. Just remember, this is all inside of a macro, and the macro is hooked, the inputs are hooked up to the input of the pressed button, whatever you want to do with it. With this way, you can do as many clicks as you want inside of the time frame, so you can do double, triple, quadruple, quintuple, how many you want. But now for the step-by-step version of this tutorial. Now a little disclaimer. Unfortunately, my recording software up, so we do absolutely only recorded the editor window and nothing else. So whenever I make a new node or change a variable type, you can see the window. But don't worry, in your version everything should be fine, and just follow along by the names of the nodes. Okay, so open the blueprint in which you want this logic to be in. In my example, I use the first person character. Then you take the input button you want to hook it up to. I take input action fire, unhook it from its logic, and we're gonna make a new macro, which I'm gonna call multi-tap. Call yours however you want. And we're gonna need 3 inputs. 2 of them are going to be executives and 1 float. We call the first executive onPressed, the second onReleased, and the third float we're gonna call time window, and we're gonna use this to set the time in which we count the clicks. And now we're gonna make pins for the out, and here you do as many executive pins as you want the player to be able to click. In this example, I use single, double, and triple click, but you can do as many as you want with this approach. Then we're gonna need an integer, a local variable, and here I'm gonna take, what the f is it doing here? Okay, I'm gonna take a local integer, which is the same as just a normal integer, but it only works inside of the macro. So if you never saw this node, then we're gonna increment it on button pressed, and also we need to set the node, set integer by reference. On button released, first we're gonna take a do once node. This acts like a gate, and then we're gonna add a delay and hook up the float time window to the duration. Once the delay is completed, we're gonna start a sequence. And first off, we're gonna take a switch on int node, add the pins according to how many clicks you want, and connect them to the output, but start with 1 and not with 0, because we're gonna start counting from 1. Finally, hook up the integer to the selection int on the switch. And then we're gonna reset the value of the int. So basically the logic does, when we press first, each time we press, it's gonna increase the int. And when we first release it, it's gonna start a delay. Once the delay is finished, it's gonna tell the output how many times we clicked it, and then reset the variable. And the last thing we have to do is to open the gate again. And this logic should just work fine. hit compile, save it, and in the event graph you can take your macro, hook it up on pressed and released, and here in the time window you're gonna say how long you want it to be. I took 0.5 seconds. And here you can hook up whichever logic you want. To demonstrate it, I'm gonna use print strings, Control W to duplicate them. And if we did everything right, this should just work very fine.